Hello everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. This video is all about Rahu transit during April 12, 2022 to November 18, 2023. So I would like to discuss to you on the Rahu transit. So we all know that Rahu is transiting in Aries zodiac sign from April 12, 2022 until November 18, 2023. So this 1.5 year period is a very important planetary period that you need to consider. In fact, even for astrologers for that matter, whenever any client come for the consultation, we generally check for these, whether the Rahu Ketu transit is in a very good state or not before giving the final prediction. Because Rahu governs your finances, Rahu governs your health issues, Rahu governs your sudden events. Rahu also is responsible for government jobs, and also Rahu also represents your grandparents. Okay, so and Rahu is basically a karmic planet because it brings the events in the life in a very sudden format. Whether it can be sudden growth or sudden downfall in the life, it's because of Rahu and Ketu. So the placements of Rahu and Ketu determines your success in your life. Some people will get overnight success. That's because of planetary position of planet Rahu and Ketu in your birth chart. So what kind of event that gonna be happening in your life? There is some kind of influence with planet Rahu, because Rahu and Ketu are basically karmic planets, as I mentioned to you. Unlike Saturn as well as Jupiter, Rahu Ketu transits are also very important. So currently during Rahu transit, that is, it is happening from April 12, 2022 until November 18, 2023. So this Rahu transit is happening in Aries zodiac sign. And of course the Ketu transit is happening in Libra zodiac sign. So I'm talking to you from the technical perspective, but depending upon your zodiac sign, the prediction varies. So let's discuss about Rahu transit for Aries zodiac sign. For Aries zodiac sign, Rahu is transiting in your first house. First house talks about yourself, your personality, your mindset, your family environment, the way you perceive others, okay, and also your personality, your characteristics, your behavioral traits, all these being governed by your first house. So Rahu is playing that role. So what happens is you will be overly optimistic, you will be overly pessimistic depending upon the situation. So people can able to experience that you are anxious for everything, and there will be some kind of confusion in your life. You will not be able to take good decisions at whenever any decision to be done. You will be always dependent upon somebody, because Rahu is a planet who is having only head. It doesn't have a stomach. So you will be confused with number of options that you have. So you lack in decision making. So during that point of time for Aries zodiac sign, you have to have some kind of support system, some kind of emotional support, some kind of financial support. Okay, so you should be having a people in your community, in your surroundings, so that who can be able to help you in terms of if at all you come across any problem in your life. Okay, so for Taurus zodiac sign, Rahu transit is happening in 12th house of liabilities, expenses, foreign settlements, and 12th house of writing skills, 12th house of spirituality, 12th house of sudden downfall in the life. Okay, any losses that you've been experiencing in your life have been governed by the planets in the 12th house. So here Rahu transit is happening in your 12th house. So Rahu brings tremendous experiences. Rahu brings unnecessary losses, unnecessary spendings, unnecessary expenditure. Rahu also plays a major role in terms of achieving your goals. If at all you plan to become an author since long time, so this is the time period you'll be starting that specific goal. And if at all you are looking to settle in the foreign countries, so this is the right time for you to explore foreign opportunities. If at all you're looking for a job in abroad country, so this is the time for you, because Rahu is transiting in Aries zodiac sign, which is the 12th house for Taurus. Okay, and for Gemini zodiac sign, Rahu is transiting in the 11th house of profits, 11th house of gains, 11th house of wealth flow, 11th house of hopes and wishes, 11th house of father, 11th house of friends and networking also. 11th house also talks about self-confidence. So during this point of time, Rahu is transiting in your 11th house. You will not have any kind of financial difficulties. Your finances will be taken care because of Rahu's placement. Rahu also grants finances. But that kind of finances, that kind of thirst towards making money will be so much in your life that will not have time to concentrate on your family issues. So that might trigger some kind of friction in the family environment. So that is something which you need to take care of in terms of the time management. And Rahu also fulfills your hopes and wishes. Rahu also help you to achieve your materialistic goals, because Rahu is materialistic in nature. You'll be purchasing a lot of gadgets. You might buy a car, you might buy an apartment, you might spend money for luxuries, you might spend on inauspicious expenses, inauspicious things, which is not really required, which is not necessary in your life. You'll start spending that money because Rahu in the 11th house makes you to spend so much of money for unnecessary things. Okay, so you have to watch out that. And also Rahu also talks about friends and networking also. So you'll be having high influential friends during this point of time. If at all, let's say you are in India, so you might have a friend from abroad countries. That friend would be supportive for you. Okay, and Rahu in the 11th house also is very good for networking. So you'll be able to improve your networking skills. You'll be able to improve your your family environment. Okay, this is what generally happens if at all Rahu is transiting in the 11th house of the natural zodiac. Okay, and for Cancer zodiac sign, Rahu is transiting in the 10th house. If Rahu is transiting in your 10th house, it is really good for your occupation. It is really good for your career growth. It is really good for exploring the career that you are really passionate about. It is really good for social circle as well, because 10th house also talks about social circle. 10th house also talks about business pursuits. So if at all you have any ideas in your mind, so this is the time where in which you can explore into business pursuits. Also, provided Jupiter and Venus also should be supporting your birth chart to gain profitable in terms of business. Okay, so let's say for Leo zodiac sign, Rahu is transiting in your 9th house of foreign distance travel, foreign travel, 9th house of blessings from ancestors, 9th house of previous life good karma, 9th house of fortune, 9th house of relationship with fatherly figures. So all this is governed by planet 9th house. 9th house also talks about God's blessings. You'll be doing a lot of prayers and all that, but whether you'll be able to blessed can also be governed, can also be seen from the 9th house of your birth chart. So here Rahu is transiting for Leo zodiac sign, which is really good for getting the blessings from ancestors. Okay, getting the ancestral property during this point of time. And also you'll be 9th house also talks about pilgrimage. You'll be going to the pilgrimage to the very far distances. Let's say you're from abroad, you might be coming to India to explore some spiritual places, some spiritual vortexes. Okay, you'll be traveling a lot during this point of time. That will be a long distance travel. That means you might be going to the abroad countries and you might come back as well. So that generally happens if at all Rahu is transiting in your 9th house. Rahu also brings a little bit of health issues in the 9th house. So you need to watch out your health during this point of time. Okay, and also there will be a lot of support from the fatherly figures. Fatherly figures as in like the person whom you'll be meeting as a stranger, and that person becomes very close to you and he'll be of a great support to you. So that's what I mean like a fatherly figures. So of course the age of that person would be more or less equal to your father. So you'll be getting the good respect and the support and the wisdom and the knowledge from the fatherly figures in your life during this point of time. And for Virgo, Rahu is transiting in your 8th house. Okay, Rahu is transiting in your 8th house. So what happens basically if Rahu is transiting in the 8th house? Okay, so 8th house talks about sudden ups and downs. 8th house talks about government support. 8th house also talks about profitable ventures. 8th house also talks about longevity. 8th house also talks about your your cousins, your relationship with your cousins. Okay, 8th house also talks about in-laws, support from the in-laws. So if at all Rahu is transiting in the 8th house, so that brings a lot of support from the in-laws. Even though there'll be a lot of misunderstandings, your in-laws will be your spouse parents will be coming to you for providing some kind of advice, some kind of financial support, some kind of blessing, some kind of the relationship will be very stronger during this point of time if Rahu is transiting in your 8th house. And Rahu transiting the 8th house, depending upon planet natal Rahu in your birth chart, if Rahu is stronger in your birth chart, obviously it will bring you sudden upskill. You'll be gaining a lot of knowledge during this time, which is being pending since long period of time. You'll be able to fulfill that specific goal during this time. And also there'll be sudden growth in your finances as well. If Rahu is stronger in your birth chart, if Rahu is weaker, obviously there'll be a sudden downfall in your life. Okay, and which happens in a very sudden format, which you will not be having any kind of consciousness during this time. So that's what Rahu does. Okay, Rahu is all about creating a sudden events in the life. That's what I just told you in the introduction. And for Virgo zodiac sign, Rahu is transiting in the 7th house of natural zodiac. That is, if Rahu is transiting in your 7th house, obviously that will be really good for business profits. But however, if at all you're planning to maintain a cordial relationship with your business partners, so you have to look into the terms and conditions before you sign an agreement. So because there might be some kind of friction with your business partners during this time, because 7th house talks about business partners, relationship with business partners. 7th house also talks about good relationships. You'll be gaining good relationships, good influence, good correspondence during this time, especially from the foreign countries, especially from the high influential people will be of a great support to you during this time. So Rahu transit in the 7th house also brings good amount of wealth in your life. And let's say for Libra zodiac sign, Rahu is transiting the 6th house of enemies, 6th house of obstacles, 6th house of health issues, 6th house of debts. Rahu works really well in the 6th and 8th house, especially even in the 12th house. The reason being, Rahu himself is a karmic planet, and 6th and 8th house becomes upachaya houses or pacha houses. So Rahu brings control on your enemies. Rahu brings control on your debts. Rahu can able to win over the litigations. Rahu can able to win over the obstacles, win over the challenges in your life. If Rahu is transiting in your Libra zodiac sign, that is if Rahu is transiting in your Virgo zodiac sign, it is the 7th house I mentioned to you. If Rahu is transiting in the Libra zodiac sign, obviously it will be a 6th house. So 6th house is really good for Rahu. It brings a control on debts, enemies, obstacles and health issues. And let's say for Scorpio zodiac sign, Rahu is transiting in your 5th house of education, 5th house of romance, 5th house of support, the relationship with the children. And 5th house also talks about educational pursuits. 5th house also talks about love affairs. 5th house also talks about fortune. 5th house also talks about efforts, okay, comforts, benefits, all these things. 5th house also talks about speculation as per certain context. So Rahu in this 5th house is not really good for the 5th house, because 5th house is basically house of fortune. In this auspicious house, the karmic planet like Rahu is is transiting, which is really not so auspicious. So what are the events, what are the parameters which I just mentioned in the 5th house? You have to really be careful about those things, and you have to be alert in those things. Okay, so because there may be some kind of confusion, there may be some kind of conflicts, there will be some kind of disturbances, there will be some kind of friction in the environment because of planetary influence of planet Rahu transiting towards the 5th house. And let's say for Sagittarius zodiac sign, Rahu is transiting in your 4th house of real estate matters, 4th house of relationship with your mother, health of your mother, 4th house of stock market gains, 4th house of vehicles, 4th house of comforts, benefits, 4th house of luxuries, 4th house of support from your relatives. All these things will govern by 4th house. So if 4th house is not really stronger, then obviously there will be some kind of disturbances and also denials in your family environment. You will not be going well, you will not be able to gel with your family members and also with your relatives. If Rahu transit is happening in the 4th house, then you will be gaining very good vehicle. If at all you have a dream vehicle, then definitely you will be able to purchase a dream vehicle during this transit. And Rahu is also very good for real estate gains. So you'll be gaining very good property gains during this time, provided your Venus and Jupiter also should be supporting. So let me tell you one thing, Rahu alone cannot be able to do the work. If at all any positivity has to be given, that has to come through Jupiter or Venus or Mercury or any kind of benefic planets. It has to give the blessings. So you have to check the strength of these planets in your birth chart to understand about positivity in your birth chart. Okay, and for Capricorn zodiac sign, Rahu is transiting in the 3rd house. Rahu in the 3rd house brings very good amount of relationship with your siblings. Rahu also brings a very good amount of networking skills, and also short distance travel is being governed by third house. Okay, so you'll be able to go to a lot of places during this time, because but that will be short distance journey. In fact, I have seen one of the birth chart where in which Rahu is transiting in the third house, and also he is having natal Rahu in the third house as well. So what I experienced is he was working in one of the software company, and there he has got one of the project, and in that project, because of the business purpose, he has to keep moving to different cities. And every time, for example, 1 week he will be in one city, and for another week he'll be in another city, for another third week he'll be another city, fourth week he'll be another city. So he is to keep moving, and he don't have a constant work location because of Rahu's transiting the third house, and also his natal Rahu is also placed in the third house. So Rahu also brings very good relationship with your siblings. Rahu also eradicates many communication related problems as well. Rahu also builds your networking skills. You will be famous among your social circle. If at all your friends want to ask any kind of help, they'll first remember your name, if at all Rahu is transiting in your third house. And for let's say for Pisces zodiac sign, Rahu is transiting in your second house, and second house of wealth, second house of second house of your family environment. Okay, second house of your speech, second house of your wealth. Okay, most importantly wealth, your assets, tangible assets and intangible assets, that's been governed by planet Rahu. Rahu in the second house brings very good amount of wealth, very good support from the family. Family will be supporting to fulfill your goals. Family also will be creating a lot of support systems in terms of encouraging you and pushing you to the next level. And Rahu in the second house also brings very good amount of tangible and intangible assets. And also you have to watch out your speech, because Rahu being a pure malefic planet, it might bring some kind of harshness, rudeness in your speech. So you have to watch out your words when you speak to the people. Okay, so that's about Rahu's transit for various zodiac signs. We all know that Rahu is transiting in Aries zodiac sign currently, and I have given specifically for each zodiac sign what Rahu transit is giving during this point of time. I hope you loved this video. Thank you so much for watching. If at all you need my astrological consultations, the link is mentioned in the description section. Do book for an astrological consultations. Once I get a consultation order, I'll be able to help you with the complete analysis pertaining to your individual birth chart. Thank you so much for watching this video. If at all you love my YouTube channel, please like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and please book for an astrological consultation. Once I get a consultation order, I'll be able to help you with the complete analysis pertaining to your individual birth chart. Okay, so thank you so much. Bye for now.